Today, we're diving into a really massive shift happening in education, looking at the journey from the old school chalk and blackboard to the new age click of a mouse. We're going to look at why this is happening, what it all means for students and teachers, and the technology that's really driving this incredible change in India's classrooms. So, think back to the classic chalk and talk classroom. We all know what that looks like, right? One teacher at the front, one blackboard, and pretty much one way to learn. But you have to ask, does that one-size-fits-all approach really work for today's students? You know, the kids who have literally grown up with technology right at their fingertips?
Okay, so before we get any deeper, let's get on the same page with what we mean by digital literacy. It's so much more than just knowing how to use a computer. It's the whole skill set, being able to find information, figure out if it's reliable, create something new with it, and then share it. This idea is absolutely fundamental to modern learning.
So, now that we're clear on what we're aiming for with digital literacy, let's take a hard look at the limits of the traditional classroom. It'll become pretty clear why this digital shift isn't just a good idea, it's necessary.
Here's the core issue, right? There's this huge gap between how things are done in the classroom and what life is like in the real world. In school, students are often just sitting there passively taking in information. But the second they step outside, they're part of this super dynamic, visual, digital world. And that disconnect? Well, that's a recipe for disengagement.
And when you dig a little deeper, you see the specific challenges pile up. You've got student engagement dropping off because, let's be honest, the methods can get repetitive. That one-size-fits-all model just doesn't work for kids who learn at different speeds. And for the teachers, oh man, the amount of time spent on manually grading everything is just immense.
And here's a perfect example to make it crystal clear. Just imagine trying to explain how a volcano works using only a textbook description. Now, compare that to watching a full-blown animated simulation of an eruption. I mean, it's a no-brainer, right? The simulation just brings the whole concept to life, making it way more engaging and a whole lot easier to understand. That's the power of digital learning in a nutshell.
So, if the traditional classroom has its limits, what's the answer? Well, it's all about a digital upgrade, one that empowers both teachers and students and creates a learning environment that's just so much more dynamic and effective for everybody involved. And let's be clear, these digital tools don't replace teachers, they empower them. It's a total game changer. With interactive lessons, instant digital assessments, and access to a world of updated resources, teachers can finally shift their role. They can move from being just lecturers to becoming true facilitators of learning.
And for the students, the benefits are huge. Suddenly, complex concepts are easier to grasp because of visuals and videos. They start to think critically by evaluating things they find online instead of just memorizing facts. And, maybe best of all, they can finally learn at their own pace, exploring topics that they're actually curious about.
Now, this isn't just some far-off vision for the future. It is happening right now. The new NCERT textbooks, they now come with QR codes. You just scan them with the phone, and boom, you get instant access to a whole world of related digital content, from cool explainer videos to extra practice exercises.
Those QR codes are just one small example of the amazing digital tools that are completely changing the modern classroom. So, let's open up this new educational toolkit and see what's inside.
Okay, so for teachers, you've got things like smartboards and presentation software that make lessons way more engaging. And platforms like Google Forms, they make assessments a breeze. Then for students, there are educational apps for everything, virtual labs where they can do experiments safely, and digital textbooks that are way more interactive.
Now, this whole transformation isn't just happening on its own. It's actually backed by some major government initiatives. You've got Diksha, which is this huge national platform with tons of e-content. There's ePathshala for digital textbooks, and Swayam for free online courses. It's all kind of brought together under the PM e-Vidya program to make sure these tools get out there across the whole country.
And you know, the COVID-19 pandemic really put this digital infrastructure through the ultimate test. When schools had to close their doors, these online platforms became an absolute lifeline. They made it possible for millions of students all across India to keep learning. It was a really powerful reminder of just how resilient a digitally ready education system can be.
All right, we've seen the potential, we've seen how resilient this digital system can be, but now let's get to the bottom line. What's the actual measurable impact when you bring digital literacy into the classroom every single day?
Well, the results are in and they're incredibly positive. The data just speaks for itself. We're seeing big increases across the board.
Student participation goes way up, their actual understanding of the concepts gets deeper, and teachers become even more effective. It's a clear win-win for everyone.
And this really gets to the most important point, the big takeaway here. Digital literacy is not about replacing teachers or traditional teaching. Not at all. It's about enhancing it. It's about giving great teachers powerful new tools to create an even better, more impactful learning experience for their students.
So, the vision for a future-ready education system is crystal clear, and the tools are here. But that brings us to the next great challenge. We have to make sure that every single student, in every single classroom, no matter where they are, gets to benefit from this digital evolution. The real question now is, how do we make that happen for everyone?